Scott Speicher. I worked with Dr. Schmidt from 2014 to 2017. After graduation, I took a job as a water resources engineer with a company called FHU here in Lincoln, Nebraska. So I got connected with Dr. Schmidt through primarily Dr. Dan Snow. I worked in the Water Resources Laboratory on East Campus after my undergraduate. And so through that, I got with Dr. Amy Schmidt, and then I came on board for a 2-year master's program, and that's how it happened. So the research we were doing was we were trying to understand, how does antibiotic resistance spread throughout the environment on a field? And so we're looking at the spread across the surface, but we're also looking at the spread deep into the soils. So we were trying to get a 3D understanding of the spread of antibiotic resistance. And so through that, one of the complications was some of the soil samples that were taken deep under the surface, we had a very difficult time extracting any usable biomass using the methods that we had planned. And so we had to get creative, and through that process, we developed our own novel method to extract enough biomass to then sample for antibiotic resistant genes and bacteria. So how our project went was, the first step was the data collection. And so this meant a field trip out to the project site in the extraction of the cores, and then to portion all of these cores out into sample sizes with adequate labels. And that whole process, I remember when Amy told me that's what we had, that was the plan. I kind of came up with, my plan was to do it all in one day. And so I recruited some help. Dr. Schmidt was involved. And so we got up early, and I remember we drove a couple cups of coffee. We drove out to the center. We collected the samples. We were back in the afternoon. We got some more help, and I remember we were tired. We were exhausted. We're in the lab. We're cutting soil and going through the process. It was a very tedious work, and I remember just the conversations and just the hard work that we put in for the day. I still remember that. I still remember how hard we all worked and how we're all on the same page to achieve the same goal. So it was a cool process to be a part of. There isn't one specific challenge that comes to mind. It was always challenging. Anything new is, in this case, this was all new to me. It was challenging, but I think that's also in challenging times. I think that's where you learn the most and grow the most. So overall, it was a challenge, but I'm glad I did it and I grew from it. I think it's good to fully immerse yourself into a new world for a couple of years. And I think, if anything, it teaches you what you like and what you don't like. I think it's probably beneficial to commit to something for a year or two, and then after this 2 years reassess. After spending time in Amy's lab, I think I left with kind of a newfound confidence in myself. And I think it's just because I had just more broad experience, and I could actually talk on some of the things I had done. I remember to this day, before I came on board with Amy, after undergrad, I remember I applied at a few places in town that was not grad school. And I remember some of the employers would ask me questions. I was always get so nervous because I feel like I couldn't talk sophisticatedly about some of the work I did as undergrad. And so I just really didn't have much confidence in some of my skills. And so because of that, I did not get called back on some opportunity. And so it kind of made me reassess. And then I jumped on board with Amy. Fast forward 2 years. Now I'm sitting on the same chair getting, interviewed now. And now they ask me about my past. And I feel like I could just talk so much more intelligently and confidently in what I had been doing. And so because of that, I'll credit my experience in grad school for a big reason why I was able to apply for a job and get a job that I wanted.